We'll add a punch plate vibrating screen on the end.
Okay.
You know, it'll allow you to add more blow boxes on the end of that in the future.
Yeah.
Another aspect is your prospecting. You need better ground, because you're not running a ton of material.
Two young miners were losing thousands just trying to keep their gold mine running. In the brutal Arizona heat, fuel costs were eliminating their dream. Then Freddy Dodge and Juan Ibarra rolled in with a plan no one had tried before in the show: power everything with the sun. Could this risky gamble turn a failing mine into gold? The $12 disaster. In the middle of the Arizona desert, two miners named Nick and Danny were having a very bad day. They had worked for hours under the hot sun, feeding dirt into their machine, hoping to find gold.
It's a huge difference in here compared to the first test. Different plant. The guys have more knowledge now, better recovery system, so we'll see what happens.
Now it was time to see what they got. They cleaned everything out, and their hearts sank. In their pan was just a tiny bit of gold dust. They put it on the scale to weigh it. The screen showed a sad number, 0.2 grams. That was worth about $12. $12 for a whole day of hard work. Freddy Dodge looked at them and told them the hard truth. Right now, he said, you're burning more diesel fuel per hour than you're getting gold. They were losing money every minute their generator was running. Their dream of being successful gold miners was dying right in front of them. They looked totally defeated. There was no way they could keep going like this. They needed a miracle. But then Freddy, looking up at the bright, hot sun that was beating down on them, had an idea. It was an idea that sounded like it came from a science fiction movie. It was a plan that had never been tried before on a gold mining show, and it could either be a brilliant success that would save them or a total, embarrassing disaster. Freddy's idea was simple but revolutionary. He asked,
And I'm no solar expert, but you've got a lot of solar here.
Yeah, that's not a problem out here.
So what if we put a solar panel system in, and the solar will be running your whole plant without any more gas, just the sun?
what if we put a solar panel system in? The solar will be running your whole plant without any more gas, just the sun. The plan was to stop using the noisy, expensive gas generator completely. They would power everything with clean, free energy from the sun. To do this, they would need to build a special trailer that could hold a bunch of solar panels and big batteries to store the power. It would be their own mobile power station. But that was only half the plan. Freddy also saw that the miners were working way too hard for way too little dirt. Their machine, called a trommel, had to be turned by hand with a crank. It was slow and exhausting. So Freddy planned to add a new motor to the trommel. This new motor would also be powered by the solar panels. It would let them spin the trommel much faster, so they could wash 4 times more dirt in the same amount of time. More dirt washed means more gold found. And with no fuel costs, almost every little flake of gold they found would be pure profit. The plan sounded amazing. Luckily, Nick told them he already had some used solar panels at his house. That would save them a lot of money. They had a plan.
Right now, it takes 2 guys to constantly rotate that trommel drum. So with this, it's going to be about an 80% increase just in material going through the plant.
Now they just had to build it, and they were in a race against the clock. To make things worse, a new enemy was about to show up and make their job nearly impossible. The wind. With a plan in place, the team raced to get to work. They only had about 3 days to pull off a job that should have taken 5. The biggest challenge was building the solar trailer from scratch. Freddy even admitted that he wasn't a solar expert. "This is my first adventure with anything over a solar panel about that big," he said, holding his hands a foot apart. But he knew that you have to try new things to learn and get ahead. They started building a strong steel frame on top of an old trailer. This frame would hold the big, heavy solar panels. But as they started to work, the weather turned against them. The wind began to howl across the desert. The wind was so strong it was a nightmare. It was blowing their heavy steel parts around while they were trying to weld them. Freddy worried, if it's blowing angle iron and steel around like it is, trying to put these solar panels in place in this wind may be impossible.
We need to start welding the whole side now.
All right.
Now that we got it supported, now we can fully weld it.
Sounds like a plan.
The solar panels were big and flat, like giant kites. The crew knew that if the wind caught one, it could be ripped right out of their hands and smashed to pieces. It was a dangerous job. Everyone had to work together as a team. They carefully lifted each heavy panel, fighting against the gusts of wind, and slowly bolted them down to the trailer frame. After a long, tough fight against their invisible enemy, the solar trailer was finally built. It looked amazing, like something from the future, sitting there in the middle of the desert. It was a high-tech monster ready for action, but the big question was still hanging in the air. Would this thing actually work? It was time to hook it up to the plant and flip the switch. The solar-powered payday. The moment of truth had finally arrived. The crew carefully towed the new solar trailer over to their gold cleaning plant and hooked up the wires. Everyone stood back. Nick flipped a switch. For a second, nothing happened. Then, with a quiet hum, the entire plant came to life. It was working. The trommel started to spin, the conveyor belts started to move, and it was all being powered by nothing but the sun. There was no loud generator engine, just the clean, quiet power from their new machine. The best part was the new motor on the trommel. Instead of slow, hard work turning a crank, the trommel was now spinning on its own, and it was moving about 4 times faster. The miners were able to shovel dirt into the machine as fast as they could. In just 15 minutes, they had washed more dirt than they used to in an hour. After the test run, it was time to see what they had found. They cleaned out the sluice boxes, and right away, they could see a difference. There was much more gold than before. They carefully collected it and put it on the scale. The final weight was 0.7 grams. Now that might still sound small, but it was nearly 4 times more gold than their disastrous $12 run.
7/10 of a gram, so roughly a 40th an ounce. So we did what, 2/10 last time of a gram, and now it's right at 7/10.
But here was the real jackpot. It cost them almost nothing to get it. They didn't burn a single drop of expensive diesel fuel. All the gold they found from now on would be almost pure profit. The solar system wasn't just a fix, it was a total game changer that would let them earn thousands of dollars over a season. Their dream was saved. The solar-powered win was a huge moment for Freddy and Juan, and it showed how smart thinking can change a miner's life. The world of Gold Rush is full of these amazing success stories. But it is also a world that has seen some truly sad and heartbreaking losses. On the high side, you have miners like Parker Schnabel. He started as a teenager and has grown into one of the biggest gold miners in the world, sometimes finding over $15 million worth of gold in a single season. Then there is Tony Beets, a legend who buys giant, ancient machines called dredges and brings them back to life to pull out thousands of ounces of gold. But the show has also shared the personal tragedies of its stars. Freddy Dodge, the gold guru, who is always fixing things for others, has had to fix his own broken heart.
Honestly, for a shot in the dark, I think we did all right.
Yeah, I think so too. The sluice is running good.
Yeah.
The drive system's running good.
The Grizzlies are working good.
A few years ago, he shared the terribly sad news that his daughter Sam had passed away after a long battle with cancer. For a father to lose a child is the worst pain imaginable, and Freddy showed incredible strength by continuing his work and honoring her memory. His partner, Juan Ibarra, has also faced tragedy. A few years ago, a massive wildfire in California burned through his town. The fire completely destroyed his home and his workshop, where he kept all the tools and machines he used for his business. He lost almost everything he owned. The strength that Freddy and Juan show after facing such sad personal losses makes them true heroes. But the world of reality TV isn't always about heroes overcoming hardship. Sometimes it's about big personalities and even bigger problems. Just ask the king of the pawn shop world, Rick Harrison. Treasures different problems. When you're looking for gold, digging up gems, or selling history, one thing is always true. If there's a lot of money involved, things can get messy. People start to argue. Friends can turn into enemies. Even families can fall apart. And sometimes the biggest problems aren't from nature or hard work. They come from the people closest to you. Just look at Rick Harrison, the main guy from the hit TV show Pawn Stars. You might think the worst thing he's ever faced was buying something fake. But no, his biggest battle came from his own family. A few years ago, Rick's own mother took him to court. She said that after Rick's dad, known as the Old Man, passed away, Rick took over the family business and the money without telling her. She believed he tricked her. This family fight shocked fans of the show. People had always seen the Harrisons as close and funny, but behind the scenes, things were falling apart. It just goes to show that when big money is involved, even families can turn against each other.
Everyone tells me you can't get a pawn license. They're like $1 million. I mean, I heard stories from anywhere $500,000 to $1 million. You got to wait for someone to die and get it from them. I'm like, well, and that's bullshit. That's wrong.
Now let's travel to a different kind of treasure. Opal. In Australia, there's a wild place full of color hiding under the dirt. It's called the opal fields. On the show, Outback Opal Hunters, brave miners dig deep into the hot, dry land looking for special stones. These opals can shine in rainbow colors and are worth a lot of money. Some of the teams, like Cole's crew, have found single pockets of opal worth more than $80,000. And then there's the Virgin Rainbow, one of the most famous opals ever. Experts say it could be worth over $1 million. That's more than some houses. But the hunt is never easy. Just like gold miners, opal hunters risk everything: money, time, and even safety for a shot at hitting it big. Speaking of big risks, there's a story about two young gold miners, Nick and Danny, that really shows how hard this life can be. They were trying to run a gold mine in the middle of the Arizona desert, but it wasn't going well. They were spending more on fuel than they were making in gold. Their dream of striking it rich was turning into a nightmare. That's when Freddy Dodge and Juan Ibarra, two mining experts from the show Gold Rush, Freddy Dodge's mine rescue, showed up with a crazy plan. They wanted to build a gold plant powered only by the sun. No key install, no diesel, agenda.
What if we put a solar panel system in, and the solar will be running your whole plant without any more gas, just the sun?
Awesome.
This is kind of a first for us, and to me that's exciting because it's something that hasn't really been done.
Dynam, just sunlight. At first it sounded risky. No one had done it before, but Freddy and Juan believed it could work, and it did. The solar-powered plant not only saved money, but it also worked better than anyone expected. Nick and Danny went from almost quitting to pulling in more gold than ever. But the gold wasn't even the most important thing. What they really got was hope. Freddy and Juan didn't just save a broken machine, they saved two miners' dreams. This story shows that the treasure isn't always the shiny stuff in the ground. Sometimes the real prize is a second chance, a new idea, a way to move forward. Freddy and Juan's solar idea proved that you don't always need money or machines to win. Sometimes all it takes is looking up and letting the sun do the work. Because in the world of mining, the biggest tools aren't always made of metal. Sometimes they're made of hope, teamwork, and thinking outside the box. If solar power is this easy, are other miners just wasting money on fuel? Let us know what you think. Like and subscribe for more amazing mine rescues.